All right, guys. Yesterday we are discussing about views concept, right? So there was some, and you know, maybe there was some confusion, and I said I will show you practically to, whatever I said about this update and delete command, I will show you practically today, right? So now let's see that. See, first of all, let me tell you, whenever we create views, okay, yesterday we saw how we will create views, right? Basically what we are doing, what I said, we by using views, it is a way of storing the query. We are just storing any SQL query, we can just store any SQL query inside the view, right? So we saw how we will create the views. This will be the syntax, right? Create view, view name as. After that we can write any of the SQL statement, and that SQL statement basically that will store in the view. Basically what it is happening when we are creating any view here, that view we can see in the database, it is storing the view in the database permanently only, but it is not creating the table, it is just creating a view for the existing film table, right? For whatever table, if suppose I use this one, it's not creating a table again from the existing film table only, it is just creating a view. We can able to see the output of this one in the view. We can see, so what is this? Suppose we created in Maven Movies, right? See, yesterday I created some views here. Okay, whatever view I created, that view will be saved permanently in the database only, but it's not physically creating a table. What it will do, this it will just store this SQL query only inside this view. Okay, whenever I execute this view, what this view will do, it will go to this film table and it will take the data from there. That means views won't store the data inside them, it is just storing the SQL queries what we wrote inside them. The SQL queries only it is storing, it is not storing the table, it is not storing the data. Is this point clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now creating the view is okay. Yesterday we saw all the syntaxes. If we want, we can even alter the view, that is also okay. We can display the data of the view, that is also okay. Up to here, like create command, alter command, select command is same. However we did in tables, we can do it here also. Okay, no problem. So whatever views we created, that views will be stored in the database permanently until and unless we drop the view. Same like the table. Table also like that only. No, we drop the table only, it will completely remove from the database. Okay, up to here the concept is same and okay. Okay, next commands. We have some more commands in, what is there? Here I wrote. We have some more commands in SQL, that is update command and delete command. So we will face issues with these two commands only in the views. Okay, so what I'm saying here, whenever I am creating a view, okay, I need to make sure I need to use any of these concepts. I'm repeating, I need to use any of these concepts. My bad, yesterday I forgot to write here, like I need to write while creating views, if we use any of this concepts, I can say, right? That is either distinct concept, distinct clause, or aggregate function, or group by clause. If we use any one of this, whenever we are creating the views, okay, whenever we are creating the views, if any one of this I used, then that is okay. For that views, if we use update command and delete command, it won't work. It won't even, if we want to update the data in the view, if we want to delete the data from the view, it won't work. This two function, this two whatever, for all these what do you call concepts, if we use any of these concepts also, this two commands, that is update command and delete command, will won't work. on the views also. If we are unable to update and delete from the row, from the view only, then how it will impact on the table, right? If suppose if we didn't use any of this, here you can see I created a view without using any of this. I created a normal SQL query. Still we can create it. We can store any kind of SQL query that will be created, view will be created. But the problem here is, if I use delete command or update command on this view, what it happens, that delete, suppose I'm deleting some row from this data, that that row will be deleted from the view as well as the table. Okay. I will show you that practically now. Whereas if I use any one of this concept, either aggregate function, either group by clause, any one is fine. Basically these two functions we cannot use as we want, right? If the question, or if the question is required only, we will use group by clause or aggregate function, correct? So in such cases, in some simple statements, at least we should use distinct clause, so that if we use any one of this inside the view, after creating that view, if I try to use update command or delete command, it will throw me error, it won't perform. For the view itself only, it won't perform. That is what I said. But while creating views, if we use any of these concepts, the views are non-updatable. That means for the view only, it won't work. That two comments won't work. If here only it won't work, in the sense it won't affect our table data also, right? Let's see that practically. I just open a new file and I wrote, if we use any of these concepts. Okay. Now I won't use my even movies. Maybe I will use Durgasoft 3 database. I checked with this database. I have some data in this already, but let me do that again. I'm activating Durgasoft 3 database. Okay. I hope you can see my screen clearly only. So in that, I'm having employees one table. I will just display select star from employees one. Okay. This is my data. If you can see here, for employees one, I already created primary key on employee ID, right? I have unique data only. But still, if we have unique data also, if we created primary key also, we can use distinct clause, no problem. If I have some duplicate values also, I can use I can use distinct clause. If without any duplicate values, if I already created primary key also, I can use distinct clause, no problem. Okay. So this is my employees one table. You can see I don't have any views in this database. Okay. Right here. So let me create one view on this table for now. Okay. So I will write it as create view, view name. So maybe I'm giving VEMP. Okay, as. I need to write the syntax like this, right? Create view, view name as. Now what I will write in the sense, I will write select. I won't use distinct first. Okay, I will create a normal view and let's try to delete something. Let's see whether we are deleting that in the table or not. Again, let's create another view by using distinct and let's see how it is working. Okay, so I'm creating normally now, and maybe I will use select star from film. Sorry, it's not film. Select star from employee. Employees one. I have three data here. Maybe I will say where clause salary. Okay, greater than 40,000. I will write. That means if I execute salary greater than 40,000, I will get two rows. I won't get this last row, right? We can. I'm just executing only the select statement. I just didn't selected view. If I execute this two lines, we can see the output, right? Here I got two rows of output, correct? Now I will create this view. I'm creating this view. It got created. I'm refreshing the database. I got my view called as VEMP, right? I can display the view also. I will just simply write it as select star from right? I'm displaying the data from the view now. I have two rows of the data, whatever we saw previously, the same thing, correct? Basically, I created a view and I stored one SQL query inside the view, but I didn't use any of those three concepts. I didn't use distinct, I didn't use aggregate, I didn't use group by, right? If we create the syntaxes like this, okay, now if I will try to use either update command or delete command, for both it will work same. Let's try to use delete command here on the view. Okay, I will say delete from this view. From this view I'm deleting some data. Delete from view where, let me once again display this. Maybe now I will delete some data here. I will delete the second row. Okay, where emp employee id is equals to 2. Okay, I'm saying that from this view I'm deleting this employee id is equals to 2. Okay, I'm executing this, guys, please see carefully. So I'm executing this. It got deleted. Okay, one row affected, it got deleted. Once again, let me display the view data. I will get only one row now, right? Because I deleted employee 2 id, employee 2 data. Okay, that means I used delete command here. That row is deleted from the view. Now let's see. Once again, I will execute employees one, right? This is employees one. I will execute from here only. Select star from employees one. That is, I'm trying to see whether that particular row is deleted in the table or not. Correct? See, it got deleted. I got only two rows here, right? Employee ID 2, I just deleted in the view, automatically deleted from my table also. Correct? If we don't use any of those three concepts, if we use any of the commands like maybe delete or update, that will affect on our main table also. This point, am I clear for everyone?
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Great. Now let's check the same by using any of this one, these things. Maybe I will use distinct here. So now in the same table, what data we have, only two rows, right? I'm having only two rows here. Maybe I'll quickly insert some data into this. Insert into employees one, values. I'm giving two only. Maybe I'm giving another name now. I'm giving one more row. Okay. I have four rows now in this employees table, correct? So let me create a view. Now what I will do, I will create a view by using distinct clause. Okay. So what I will say, create view name. What is the view name? We used vemp, right? So I will say v, maybe distinct emp, something like that. Any name we can use, right? So as I will say here, select distinct star from employees 1. Let me first see the data. Okay. So I'm saying select distinct star from employees 1. Okay. Now I will give some where condition where I will give some salary greater than 40,000 only I will give. Okay. Salary greater than 40,000. Right. I will get 3 rows here. Correct. Select distinct star from employees 1 where salary greater than 40,000 I gave. So I will get basically 3 rows here. Only one row I have 36,000 salary. So what I will do here now, I will create this view. Basically, I'm creating one view by using the distinct clause. My view is created. Let me display the data from the view. Select star from this one. See, I got three views, 3 rows now, correct? So now what I will do, I will try to use delete command in this one. Delete from view where may, maybe salary. I can use employee ID only. Employee ID is equals to 4. Maybe last one I will remove. Okay. Employee ID is equals to 4. See here what I'm saying. If we use any of that concepts, or either distinct or aggregate function or group by clause, any one of that functions, it's not functions, any one of those clauses or concepts, whenever we are creating the views, okay, if I use delete command or update command on the view also, it won't allow me, it will throw me an error. Basically we cannot perform delete and update commands on the view which we used this any of these three concepts. Okay, as I used distinct here while creating this view, I'm trying to delete this, it will throw me an error. I'm selecting this, I'm executing, it threw me an error and it is said target table, this view name basically of the delete is non-updatable. I'll just copy this. This is our error message. Delete is non-updatable. That means if I use any of this one, I cannot even use those both delete and update commands on the view itself. From view also I cannot delete, I cannot update any data. So obviously it won't affect our main table data also. Am I right? Am I clear, everyone?
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
So basically, without using any of those three concepts also, still we can create a view. Suppose I am creating one view in just to, make sure that instead of writing the longer queries again and again, I created a view. So without using any of those three concepts also, I can use that views, but I should make sure that I should not use update command and delete command on that view. If I use by mistakenly, it will affect my data. So to be on the safer side, at least we will try to use this distinct clause in every view. Okay, especially whenever we are sharing the code, or whenever I said for some non-developers, or within our company for other teams, if we had to share the data, we will create a views according to their requirement. Inside the views we will write a SQL query. In that SQL query we will definitely use any one of these concepts. Almost if the question requires, if the requirement, according to the requirement, if needed only we will use aggregate functions or group by clause, or else we can at least use distinct clause in that, and we will ask our admin team to give access on that view so that they can view the data, they can use if needed, but they cannot delete or they cannot update the data, by which our main table will be safe. Okay, this is the concept of use. I hope it is clear for everyone. Shushovan, it's that clear? Yesterday there was some confusion, right? That is the reason I'm asking you particularly. Everyone, is that clear, guys?
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Okay, great. So with this we are done with views concept. Okay. I will, if needed, I will share this file also as views one. Okay, or else I will just copy the code in that and I will share only one views. I'll see. Okay. So I hope views concept is clear for everyone. And let's start a new concept today. We have some another concept called as temporary tables. Okay. I can say this views, temporary tables, and CTE. We have another concept called as common table expression CTE. These three concepts are related to each other. I mean, yeah, there is I won't say the same concepts, but it is related. The usage will be maybe same. So let's try to understand what is temporary tables in SQL. Okay. So in views what we will do, if we want to store any of the SQL statements, we will create a view and we will store that data inside the view, right? There, whatever views we are creating, that views will be stored permanently in the database, correct? Whereas temporary table, in the sense, as the name itself, it is saying us that we are storing some tables temporarily. Okay. Basically, temporary tables, in the sense, we will create any table temporarily. Okay, we will create, if we are creating basically temporary tables, in the sense we are creating or we are storing any tables temporarily in the database. I really don't use the database word also. Basically, we are creating temporarily only, and up to how what we can say, whatever temporary table I will create, that will be existed till the session is open. Let me write it clearly. Temporary tables will be open till the session will be exist till the session is open.
Ma'am,
That
this is a
is
new concept or views?
new concept. Views is different concept, temporary tables is different concept. Okay, but it is, we have some, I mean, the usage may be same. Views also we are saving the data, temporary tables also we are saving the data. We will see once we are done with temporary tables, you will understand the difference between them. Okay, so temporary table is a separate concept. Basically, till now we saw how we create normal tables. Whenever we create normal tables, how to create the tables, you all know that syntax. So whenever we created normal tables, it will save in our database permanently, correct? There is another concept called as temporary tables. In that, if we want, we will create any tables permanent, sorry, any tables temporarily. That means the how much time that temporary table will exist, in the sense, till the session is open. That is, if I open this workbench, SQL workbench now, if I created the temporary table, I can work on it. Once I close this workbench, that temporary table will be erased automatically. Okay, clear? Once I close the workbench, temporary table will be removed automatically. That means whenever we are working on our workbench, at that time, for that time only, we will create, if needed, we will create temporary tables and we will use them. Once we close our workbench, or once the session is closed, that means whenever we are working in the real time, sometimes if we don't, I opened my workbench, I didn't moved my cursor, I didn't worked for some time. After some time, basically we know that we will get an we can get to see something like session is closed, right? Again we need to open. Sometimes it happens. So like that also, if the current session is closed, temporary tables will be erased completely, or else once I closed my workbench, temporary tables will be erased or removed completely. Okay, let's first see how we will create the temporary tables, then I will say in which scenario we will use the temporary table. Okay, creating temporary table is almost similar to creating table. Basically, if in which database I'm creating. Okay, so create table. Suppose in database 3, I'm first showing you. Suppose if I create any table, okay, how I will create. Suppose I create table sample. I'm creating table here. Okay, maybe ID. For ID, I will mention data type, S name. I will mention any varchar, like that. I'm just randomly writing something. Maybe sample is our table in which I have two columns, that is ID and S name. Sample name maybe integer is my data type, varchar is my data type. This is how we will create the tables normally. Tables, okay. This is the create table syntax, right? Create table, table name. Inside we will define all the column names, and for every column name we need to define the data type, right? So when this is the normal syntax for creating normal tables. But if we want to create the temporary tables, what we will use? We will use a keyword called as temporary before table here. Okay, that is after writing create, I need to write a word called as temporary, like this. Create temporary table and remaining syntax will be same. Only we are just adding a keyword called as temporary in between. Okay, clear? See here, this is my Durgasoft 3. Now this database is only activated. I have this many tables only, right? 3, 4, 5 tables, and I have some views. Is not necessary. We are just talking about tables only. We are having 5 tables here. Now what I'm doing, I'm creating a temporary table called as sample. Okay, I'm just executing this. You can see at the bottom, a table is created, correct? It is executed successfully. It is showing me the table got created. I'm just refreshing the database. Still, I can see my 5 tables only. Whatever temporary table I created now called as sample, I cannot see inside the database because it won't save in the database. It will just temporarily save in the it will temporarily save, but we cannot see it in the database. Okay, maybe we can imagine like it is just saved in this file, in this workbench, something like that. It created successfully, but we cannot see that table name here. Okay, let me insert that data. Insert into sample. Same as what do you call table. However we will insert the data in the table, the same thing we can do here, like insert into table name values. Okay, after that maybe I will insert some values. ID 1, sample name, what I need to keep, maybe S1, comma 2, comma S2, something like that. I'm just inserting only 2 rows of data. Maybe S1 is my sample name, S2 is my sample names, something like that. Okay, see here, if you can see, this is normal table syntax. Insert into table name values, and we will give the values according to the columns. How many columns we have, that values we will enter, right? Just we are using the temporary table name here, that's it. I'm inserting the data. You can see it got executed successfully. Now I can display the data. Select star from this table name. I can see the output here. Correct, I created, see, normal syntax is only, however we will create the table like that only, but we need to use a keyword called as temporary. Whenever we create a temporary table, that table name we cannot see in the database tables list, because that table won't save in our database. It is just temporarily saved here only. We can insert the values, we can whatever SQL commands we can use normally in every table, all that SQL commands we can use very normally. Okay, we can, if whenever we are seeing this, whenever we are using select command, we can display the data. Now you can see in the table format only. ID sname 1 2, I inserted two columns. I defined two columns, I inserted two rows of data. The output we can see normally only, but we cannot see the table, the temporary table name in our database. Am I clear so far? How to create, how to insert? I will tell you the in which scenario we will use that, but till now is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. So basically, this is how we will create the temporary table. Now I created the sample, right? I cannot see it here. But suppose if I close my workbench and I open once again, and if I execute select star from sample, it will throw me error stating no such table exists. Like that. It will just work, that sample or whatever temporary tables we are created, that will work until we don't close our workbench, until the session is active. Okay, in which scenarios we will use this temporary tables, in the sense mainly I can say 99% in only one scenario we will use this temporary table, that is to remove duplicate values from any table. Suppose in any of my table I have some duplicate values. Okay, I want to remove that duplicate values. Suppose if I'm talking about any employee table, if I have some duplicate values, suppose I have only four records in which two records are duplicate values. I can see that data, I can apply where clause, and I can delete that particular rows. That is okay. But what if whenever we are working with Maven Movies database, we know in each and every table we have so much of data. Of course, they are we created already created primary keys there. The data is unique there. But still, before creating primary key, if we have some duplicate values in the long tables, how to create that duplicate values, there should be some method, right? We should follow some method, we should follow some concept to remove the duplicate values, right? In SQL there are many methods, but in out of which temporary table is one of the method. We will use this temporary table mainly to delete the duplicate values from any table. Okay, I'll show you practically. I hope you understood the concept. So I didn't remember from which batch someone asked me, and whenever I'm explaining about the primary key concept, see, whenever we are creating a primary key, we are learning a primary key. Initially what we did, when we created a table and we saw how to create a primary key on the table, or else by using alter command also we can create a primary key for the existing table, correct? For the existing table
Yes, ma'am.
also, yeah. So whenever if you remember, I think in this batch only, for the existing table, by using alter command, whenever I try to use the, I try to add the primary key. Let me repeat. By using alter command, if I try to add the primary key in the already existing table, if in that table if I had some duplicate data, it won't allow me to do so. It throws me error stating it has duplicate values. Remove the duplicate values, then only you can enter the you can create a primary key, right? At that time someone asked me, how to remove the duplicate keys, duplicate values, or like that. So at that time, in such in that scenarios, if we created one table, if we have one table, we didn't have primary key on that table. Now I'm using alter command and I'm trying to add a primary key on that table. If table has unique data, we won't get any issues. The primary key will be added automatically, or added normally. But if I have duplicates, it won't allow me to add a primary key on that table. Okay, we need to remove the duplicates, then only we can supposed to use the primary key on that table, right? In such scenarios, or else normally also in any table, if we find any duplicate values, we will use a temporary table concept to remove the duplicate values. How to do that, let's see now. Guys, just give me a moment. All right, thank you. So I'm saying we can remove duplicate values from any table by using temporary table concept, right? So in the same Durgasoft 3 database, I have employees table. If you can see here on the employees table, I don't have primary key in employee ID column, right? In employees one, we had primary key. We can see it here. Okay. In employees table, we don't have primary key. Let me just display the data. Select staff from employees. I have some duplicate values here, right? If you can see, please observe very carefully. We have 6 rows of data here. It is showing me 6 rows written, and I have duplicate values. One is repeating 3 times, 3 is repeating 2 times. Same data, I have some duplicate values, right? Now, like this, if I have some duplicate values, to remove the duplicate values, I will use a concept called as temporary tables. Here, as you saw, we have 6 rows. Okay, remember, we have 6 records here. We have some duplicate values, but we have 6 rows. Okay, I'm closing this. Now, by using temporary table, we can remove the duplicate values. How to do that? In the sense, first, what I will do, I will create a temporary table. Okay, create temporary table. I will give any table any table name here, maybe like, as this is employees, I will give only emp. I'm giving name as temporary employee emp table name. Okay, so now what I will do, one more thing here, maybe I whenever we create any table, so far we learned creating tables by like this only. We will create a table, and inside that we will declare the column names and data types, right? Not only like this, for normal tables also we can create directly table and we can store the data. Let's see here, then you can understand. Okay, normal, for normal tables also we can follow this process. What I'm doing here, I'm creating a temporary table, and instead of giving some columns, what I will say directly, I will use a keyword called as, and I will say select. Like this also we can do. That is what I'm trying to say. Just forget about this temporary table and just forget about the duplicate values for now. For 1 second, I'm before that I'm telling you, we can even create normal tables also. Previously, till now, what we saw, we will create some tables normally, like maybe I'm removing temporary here. Suppose if I can create any of my table, maybe students one. Okay, I will tell students table name. Instead of using this column names and data types, I can also write. I will use a keyword called as, and I can write any select command here. That means if I say select star from some table, here I have some students data, right? If I say student select star from students, okay, what it will do, the sql, it will go to the students table, it will display this data first. Whatever data we had inside the students table, it will store inside, I mean, whatever data we have in the students table, from by using that data, it will create a table called as students one. In normal tables also we can do this. Okay, we didn't saw this so far, right? That is the reason why I'm telling you specially. Okay, clear? Instead of if, in which cases we will use, if we want, if we know that the same kind of data we need, same types of, basically same data only, whatever data I have inside the student table, that data only I can create like this, right? So okay, this is the concept. We can use even select clause to create a table. Normal tables also we can use. Okay,
Please
Now,
repeat it, Divya, again.
okay. See, I'm not explaining about temporary table or duplicate values now. I'm just talking about normal table. So far, how we create the table, we know create table, table name. After writing table name, I will just use parenthesis, and inside the parenthesis, I will give what column names I required, like this, right? Normally, you know how we will create a table name. I will give some column names for each and every columns. I will give the data types. That is how we saw so far, correct?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Instead of that, even for normal tables also, what we can do, I will tell create table, table name. Here, instead of defining the column names and defining the data types, I can use a keyword called as. Okay, and I can say I will store, I want to store the same data from the students table. I will use, we can only use this statement only. We cannot really use any other select statements. Okay, just, if I want to store the same data which is existing in one table into the another table, we can write like this. Only this select star from some table name, that's it. We won't use any other, like how we saw in previously in views or all. We cannot use where clauses or any other clauses. Whenever we are creating the table, we will just use normal select star from students. If I execute this, what SQL will do, whatever data I had in my students table, that all data it will store, it will just create as a new table called as students one. Clear?
Yes, ma'am. Clear. It will,
Let
ma'am, copy all the data from a students to students one.
Yeah, correct, correct. It is just, it will take all the data. Basically, if we, let me see, let me execute. If I am, what I'm doing, I'm just displaying select star from students. Okay, I am having three columns here. Basically, here I had foreign key also. I'm not sure whether this will work or not. Let's see. It created the complete thing. What I did, I just did select star from students. Whatever data I had inside the students, all the data will go and it will create a separate table called as students one. If you can see here, I don't have students one. I'm refreshing the database. I got my students one. If I am, sorry, now I'm executing these two statements. I'm just trying to display students and students one data. The data is same, right?
Yes,
But
ma'am.
here I in students one, as I didn't used any primary key on foreign key, we cannot see this null. Just copied the data and created another table, but it won't create primary keys, foreign keys, whatever keys, because we need to define it manually, right? So basically, instead of I'm not talking about the keys, only the data it will store. Whatever data I have in this, all those data it's stored in another table. Like that, it will work for tables also. Okay, I hope this is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Same way we are creating views, right? Create view, view name as select star.
But there we can use any concepts we want. The same syntax. Say
Okay.
create table, table name as. After that, we will say there. I mean, there we will say create view, view name as. Here we will say create table, table name as. Okay. So for normal tables also it will work. Sorry. The same concept we will use for temporary tables also. Okay, here what I'm doing basically, what we will do basically in the sense, whenever here in employees table I have some duplicate values, right? If I want to remove duplicate values, what basically we will do, we will create a temporary table. In that temporary table, we will store distinct values of this one. Okay, let's see, then you can understand very easily. I'm saying I will use as select distinct star from employees. Okay. Basically, I'm creating a temporary table in which I'm just trying to display only distinct data, whatever I have in these tables. Okay. Here I had some duplicate values. Now I want to remove that
Hello.
duplicate values. Yes. Okay, so here I want to remove that duplicate values. For that, I'm creating a table, temporary table. I will write it here. First, what I am doing, first step, this is our first step. We will create temporary table and store unique values or distinct values. Unique values of employees table. Okay, this is our first step. So to create the temporary table, I will use as create temporary table name. Okay. After that, instead of using the normal table syntax, I will use as, and I'm saying I will store the distinct values of employees table. Okay. Let me execute this. My table got executed. Okay. Here, let me display the table here. Select star from this one. I'm displaying temporary table data. Select star from this temporary EMP. Now what data I will get here?
Distinct data from the employees.
Perfect. I'm just see. I got only 3 records here. Previously I
But why
had,
did you use distinct?
because I'm storing the unique values from here. Now I will
Okay.
tell, we have one more step to follow here.
But there is no rule behind it, right? We need to use distinct करके, like
No,
the
no,
way we had in views.
no, 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 not like that. Here I'm saying we will use mostly 99% of the time temporary table, just to remove the duplicate values only. So here my requirement is, in my employees table I should have a unique value, not in the temporary table. We will use temporary table to remove the distinct values. For that we will use 2 steps. This is our first step. Okay, the first step is that, as whatever you are relating, that it's not that concept. Views is different. We no need of using any distinct like that. It is just as our requirement is, we want to remove the duplicate values. What I did in the employees table, as I have some duplicate values, first I created a temporary table and I saved my unique data from employees table. Now what I will do, I will use either truncate or delete, and I will remove my complete data from the employees table, and whatever data I stored here, I will insert this data into the employees table. Did you got my point? Or else by writing,
No, ma'am, please repeat
let
again.
me let me execute, then you can understand. Let me write the syntaxes. Okay, this is our first step. In our first step, what I did, I created a temporary table and I stored the distinct values of employees. Now if I execute this, I got my distinct values, but these values are having in my temporary table. But my requirement is not that. In my requirement is, in from my employees table I need to delete duplicate data. That means whatever output I'm seeing here, that output I need to see in the employees table, not in the temporary table, right? So for that, what I am doing now, basically just uh, I just okay, let me write here step 2. This will be step 1. I'm writing just one like this. Okay, step 1. Step 2, what I will do, I will use truncate or delete. By using truncate or delete, we will remove complete data from employees table. Here in employees table, once again I'm executing. I have this 6 rows. I have duplicate values. I created a temporary table and I stored distinct values of employees data in this table, in the temporary table. Now what I will use, maybe I will use truncate
Truncate table name.
table
Employees.
employees. I'm by using this, we will remove the complete data, right?
Yes.
It got executed. Once again, I'm trying to display the data. Let me copy and let me write it here only. If again, I'm just displaying this data. I don't have any table inside it, inside the employees table. Whenever we use truncate, data will be removed, but the structure remains same. And if we have any of the keys, basically here we don't have a primary key, but if we have also, it will remain same. Basically the structure remains same. The entire data, whatever duplicate values I had 6 rows of data. I removed everything with one go. By using truncate, I removed everything. Now what I will do, whatever data I stored in my this temporary table, I will insert this data into employees table. This will be maybe step 3. What we need to do, insert data, I can say unique data which we stored in temporary table. We need to insert unique data which we stored in temporary table
inside
in
employees.
inside employees table. Correct. Okay. That is what I will do. Again, the same concept. However, we used create for insert also, it will work. I can use, instead of giving the values, I can use insert like this also. Insert into employees.
Employees as select star from
Here, no need of using as. Okay, directly I can say select star from,
MP.
yeah, this one. Whatever data I had in my temporary table, that data directly I'm inserting into the employees table. Okay, I'm executing this. It got executed. Now let me try to select my
Employees.
employees table. I will get my unique data. That means I removed my duplicate data from the employees table. This is my requirement. Clear, everyone?
Yes, sir, ma'am, clear.
Once again also I will repeat, this is how we will do. Basically for only this purpose we will use temporary tables, because as I said, once we close this workbench, this temporary table won't exist. So views, why we will use, in views we can store any queries, but it will store permanently in the database. So at least for reusing purpose also, if it is joins, instead of writing joins again and again, I can create views. I will store that join query inside views. It will store permanently in the database, so that whenever I needed, I can use that view, right? So that is some meaningful thing. Here temporary table, what it is doing, it is just once I close my workbench, the temporary table what we will create, it will be removed it will be removed, it will be erased. We cannot able to access the temporary table later. Correct, once we close this workbench, it will be removed. So why no, there is no need of there is no meaning of storing any joins or any type of long or complex queries inside the temporary table. It's, we cannot reuse the temporary tables, right? So only use cases, if we want to remove the duplicate values, we will use the temporary tables. In employees table, previously I had my duplicate values. Whenever I want to remove the duplicate values, I will create a temporary table, and I will try to store the unique values of employees table here. That means I said I will create temporary table. I given some name for that. I will use as keyword, and I will say select distinct star from employees. If I use this, from this table, only unique values will be stored in the temporary table, right? This will be our first step. In the first step, we are just creating a temporary table, and we are just trying to store the unique values of employees table. Okay. Next step, what we will do, we'll go back to the employees table, and we will use truncate here. By using truncate, we can remove complete data from the employees table, right? Basically, I'm storing some data in this table, and I'm emptying this table. And the third step, what I will do, whatever data I stored in the temporary table, I will insert that unique data back to my employees table. Right here, you need to remember, whenever we use create for normal tables also, whenever we use create and we use select, we need to use keyword as, right? Create table name as, select star from. But for insert, we are not using as. Okay, we will directly use insert into table name. Instead of giving values, we will just give the select statement here. Okay, by executing this, whatever unique data I had in my temporary table, all that data I inserted into the employees table, right? If for now what I have in employees table, I will have only my unique data, my duplicate values will be deleted. Correct, this is the easy way to remove the duplicate values. If we have thousands of data, in that if we have 200 or 300 rows of duplicate values also, if we follow this process, it is simply we can remove the duplicate values. I hope this concept is clear for everyone.
Yeah, Divya, in this structure, truncate is mandatory before get into the what we call it as
This one,
yeah,
second step.
that
Obviously, if we use truncate, if we remove the complete data only, we can store the unique data from which we stored in the temporary table, right? Either we can use truncate, or else even I can use delete command. I can say delete from employees, but I won't use any where clause. If without using any where clause, if I execute this, it will delete my complete data from the table. If we use where clause, and if we are giving any what we call condition, that particular data it will delete, but without where clause it will delete my complete data from the table name. Either we can use truncate, either we can use delete without where clause. Better to use truncate, right? If we use truncate, basically you can imagine like in one box I am having some multiple duplicate values, two values, three values. I'm just taking one empty box, I'm trying to keep the unique things which I have in box 1 into box 2. I'm just throwing whatever I have here, I'm just throwing in the box 1, I'm just throwing the complete whatever things I have, I'm just throwing it away, and I'm trying to store the unique values what I have in box 2 into the box 1, something like that. I hope it is clear. If it is not clear also, just try to see this once again. I wrote very clearly about the steps, you can understand.
Ma'am, where do we use it in real-time scenarios?
That's what, whenever we are, if we want to delete the duplicate values. See, if we already created, if we are working in perfect database, if we already have some primary keys, if we don't have duplicate values, then then that is well and good. But especially for data engineers or somewhere, if we don't have primary keys, if we have duplicate values, to remove the duplicate values from the table, we will use this temporary table and we will remove the duplicate values. After that, once, now for this data, after I removed my duplicate what we call duplicate values on this employees table, now I can create a primary key. Before, if I try to create a primary key, it won't allow me, it will say me that you have duplicate values in that table, correct? So basically, to creating a perfect table, we will do in that process, we will do this, we will use this. Understood?
Yeah, ma'am.
I can say data engineers will use mostly, or else sometimes SQL developers also. Whenever we are working, suppose according to, suppose I'm working for any institute, some new client came to that, suppose I'm working on hospitals database, some new doctor, uh, you know, or I can say directly if I'm working for any test center, okay, the test centers what they will do, they will work for many clients. I mean, for my client, they will have some many clients, right? If they got some new client, and if they wanted me to create a new table for that client, at that time, still being a SQL developer, I only need to create everything from scratch. I need to create the table, whatever students details they give, we need to insert the data, we need to make a perfect table in our database, in our client's database only. We will add a new table for that university, right? In that case, we will do from scratch. At that time, we will use this temporary tables to remove the duplicate values if there are any, like that. I hope whatever example I said, is that understandable or not,
Hello,
something like that. Yes, Satish.
hello. In which, madam, we use the truncate, right? We delete the data from main table and then we use the store into the temporary storage. Then if we exit the workbench and then again, then
We should not
it's caught
we
up.
should not close the workbench, right? How you will, if you are, that you are working on it seriously, then in between, why you will close your workbench? Then if you do that, everything every data you will lose. That's it, right? You know why you are using this temporary table. You are just trying to remove the duplicate values. You know what it will happen. Once, immediately, if you used truncate, immediately you need to use this third step also. If you don't use, and if you close the workbench, it will be your fault, it will be our fault. We should not do that.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If we know this concept only, we will use this, right? At that time, why we will close, we won't close, right? Like that. That's what we need to be careful whenever we are dealing with the databases, of course. So this is about the temporary tables concept. I hope this is clear for everyone. Once if I close this workbench, if you can also if after I uploaded this file, whenever you are executing, just check once you close this workbench, and if you open once again, if you try to display the temporary table data, it won't exist. Okay, so that's it. This concept is very small. This is about temporary tables. I hope this is clear for you, everyone.
Divya, regarding ER diagrams, you will be discussing in
Yes,
upcoming
yes,
sessions.
yes.
And did you
uh,
show that hacker rank, or there's
no,
anywhere I missed? No,
no,
right?
I didn't show it.
Okay, okay.
So do we
And that's
have
all
time?
about temporary table. Huh?
Yeah, that's it about temporary tables. This is a very small concept. Basically you got the idea. What happened? So you got the idea how we will create the temporary tables, right? That is what I'm saying. See, if use, we can there will be some meaning if we store any kind of long joins or something in views. That will be meaningful because it will save, the views will be saved permanently in the database. In temporary tables we won't save any other SQL statements. If we save, it will save then and there only. Once we close the workbench, it won't exist. No, for only removing, basically for only this scenario we will use the temporary tables. Okay, that's it about this. And I hope we are done with the time. I cannot start ER diagrams. Just let me quickly show you about the hacker rank. Okay, once again I'll share my screen. Basically we have a hacker rank website. We need to go into that. Okay, if you sign up, you can see all the courses, or else directly also in your search bar you can type it as MySQL hacker rank, MySQL, something like that. Okay, so we have a main website called as HackerRank. Here we have something like this: prepare, certify. I just logged out of my account. That is why it is not showing me properly. But basically, what is this in the sense? We will have many concepts here. If I want to, prepare by topics, correct? If I want to, practice SQL, I will open my SQL and we will have some queries here. Solve challenge. We can open this, we can see the questions. We need to basically sign in. I just signed it off. You can check. Okay, we can see something, questions like this. We can see the query, we can see the table over there, as you can see. And I already you wrote this code, I guess that's the reason it is showing me. The page will be blank. We need to write the query over here and we need to run code or submit code. Then it will basically, we can practice, we can test ourselves. We have many practice questions, I can say. We can solve the challenges. Here if you can see, we have some basic level, intermediate level, advanced level, difficulty level. Or else you can directly choose on which topic you can practice, like that. Select statements, aggregation. Here also you can see we have many examples. Just go through this website, you can understand very easily. And sometimes, especially the some topics, those, if you are writing any exam, it's not, I'm not talking about interview, but if you are writing any written test on the SQL round, most some organizations, what they will do, 40% of the questions they will give you from hacker rank only. Some organizations, not all. So just for practice purpose, solve this, and we have some certify also. You can find the SQL over here. We have everything. Once you got practice, once you are okay, just try to here SQL Advanced, SQL Basic, SQL Intermediate. You can just after logging in, first create your own account, try to practice over there. However, you are writing, you are solving the questions, you will end some batches. Then afterwards, try to write this exam. We will, I can say certification kind of exams only. Once you are done, you will get a certification. You can even download that certificate also, Hacker Rank certificate. Okay, just go through this website, you can find everything very easily, the prepare certificate compete, something like that. And the what we call website name is HackerRank. In the same way, we have another website called as Leet Code. We have another website called as Leet Code, LEETCODE. Okay, Leet Code. Here also we can this is something like Hacker Rank only, but first prefers Hacker Rank. If you are really done with this Hacker Rank, if you practiced everything, then go and use this Lead Code also. Here also some same like Hacker Rank, we can solve many problems over there. Okay, just watch, try to write, try to remember this names. From here also something like Hacker Rank only, we can do it. Okay, like we will have many practice questions over there in Lead Code also, SQL questions. Okay, like this it will be same like Hacker Rank only. But why I'm saying to use Hacker Rank, in the sense, most of the in interviews, or else if we are writing any written test or something like that, they will try to use the questions directly from the hacker, and they will download the questions and they will implement that questions in the return test. That's the reason, try to solve hacker rank questions first. If in case anyone anywhere you stuck, you can even search for the answers in online. For every question, I guess we have answers in the online also. If you suppose if you are trying to write anything, if you don't know the answer, if you cannot figure it out, you can check online, you will get the direct answers also in the online. Just copy that question and try to check in online, you will get the answers also. Okay, so this is about hacker rank. We are done with the time, let's end the session now. Tomorrow we will start a new concept. Okay, okay guys.
Thank you, Divya.
Yeah, thank you, bye bye.